everyone, so I'm here today to talk about a concept in makeup that I personally find somewhat difficult and challenging, and I wanted to go ahead and show you guys how I do these steps. So what I'm going to be talking about today is contouring and highlighting. I'm going to be showing you guys step by step how I put on concealer, blush, bronzer, the whole 9 yards, and I'm going to give you guys some tips that have really helped me when learning to contour and highlight. So to get started, first of all, just a little side note, I already went ahead and did my eyes and my brows and my foundation, but other than that, you guys are going to sit with me and I'm going to teach you guys how I do everything else with my face. So, let's go. Okay guys, so I went ahead and pulled the camera closer so you guys could see exactly how I do this. So to start off, I'm going to be using the Fresh Complexion by CoverGirl to do my concealer, and then we're going to go into bronzer and then blush. So, first thing is first, concealer. Now with the concealer, guys, what you want to do is kind of make a little triangle from below your eye to the tip of your nose. This is going to give a nice little highlight even if you just are trying to cover up underneath your eyes. It gives you a good little spot to start. And then what I normally do is if I'm doing my full face for contouring and highlighting, the whole 9 yards, I go ahead and also fill in just like that, and then I repeat on the other side. Next, for the concealer, what you want to do is you're going to take it okay, and that's it for concealer, and I know it's quite a lot, but it does even out once we finish everything. So I'm going to go ahead and just blend all of this in, and so just so you guys know, I went ahead, I even forgot some. I also, when I do a full face of concealer and everything, also go down the bridge of my nose, and it just makes your nose look that much more lively. So okay guys, so this is step 1 complete for the concealer, and so I'm just going to kind of go through and explain why I put my concealer in so many places. So of course I put it underneath my eye because I want to highlight the center part of my face, just kind of like my nose. I went ahead and outlined it so that way when you look at me directly, it kind of straightens out my nose a little bit, and it just kind of gives highlighting all the way through, which is what I like. Same concept just above my cupid's bow and on my chin. I just kind of want to give definition to the spots on my face that already kind of have a little crease or depth to it, just like on the cheeks. So I'm going to go ahead and blend most of this in, and then we'll go ahead and continue with bronzer. Just make sure with the concealer, guys, that you blend it really well, especially up here by your eyebrows, because you don't want to have that funny like white smudged line hanging out with you all day, which I've done. It's not fun if someone points it out. Oh, and just so you guys know, this brush that I'm using is the Pro Airbrush Concealer from Sephora. I love these Pro Airbrush stuff. They're awesome. They are slowly becoming one of my go-to favorite brushes if I ever need anything. However, I have to say, Ulta started carrying a whole collection of the IT Cosmetics brushes, and I have bought one of those, and I kind of love it. So I think I might be slowly transitioning to using more high-end brushes, which is always fun. Okay guys, so now for the under eyes, I go ahead and pat with just this finger right underneath my eyes just because it's better. You don't want to put too much pressure underneath your eyes. It can cause wrinkles and could cause some damage. So I'm going to be mostly just using this toward the bottom and then my little finger toward the top. And you want to kind of make sure you stay within the idea of the triangle right here. Just that way it gives you the definition later on. Then we're just going to repeat that whole process on this side. Okay guys, now that my concealer is blended into my face, I'm going to go ahead and take my powder foundation and lightly press it all over the places that I went ahead and put concealer. This is going to make it last longer, especially in your T-zone and right along your nose, because that's where you really want it to kind of stick. So I'm going to be using the Fit Me by Maybelline, and this is in the color 130. So I'm going to go ahead and take the contour brush from Real Techniques and just use it to dab it in here. Then we're just going to lightly press all along. And this really does help quite a bit, especially if you have an oily face like me. Pressing the powder into where you put concealer really helps your makeup last throughout the day. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use a bronzer, and I'm going to go ahead and use my Omega Bronzer by Marc Jacobs. I'm going to go ahead and use my Chanel number 10 little contour brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and, if you guys can see, take the bronzer lightly on here. And how I do bronzer is you don't want it to go right on top of your cheek, because that's going to give you kind of a funny look, especially if you're going to use blush. So what I normally do is I normally make a triangle right here. You just kind of buff this in. Right where I want the triangle to start. And this is my point. Then I kind of use it to take it up through the rest of my face this way. So just remember, the kind of idea behind this is that you want to blend out all the bronzer that you just put here into the triangle. And so I'm going to go ahead and work my way up with it. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So once again, you want to make a triangle, so just going to do it like this. The whole idea is that you just keep working the same amount of bronzer you put on your face so you don't get too much of a bronze look. Now of course you can add more or less depending on what you want to do that day or what kind of look you're going for, but see how on right below the apples of my cheeks just kind of a nice little bronze hint? Perfect. So next I'm going to lightly dab it back into the bronzer, and where I've been kind of reworking it up around the hairline, I'm going to redo that again, but very, very, very lightly. So I'm just going to take it right where my crow's whatever this is called, kind of is, and kind of just work it along the side of my hairline. So, and then I normally take some bronzer and lightly place some right here on the tip of my chin and go underneath. This is going to give your face a little bit more definition. So next, and this is optional with the bronzer, but sometimes I take, and this is just, again, the little contour brush from Real Techniques, just a light little dab of this and line my nose. This is just going to give it a tad bit more definition, and sometimes I skip this step just because I feel like sometimes it makes me look a little bit sun-kissed, but today, why not? Let's go for it. So you just want to outline the very side part of your nose and the very tip. And it's not really showing up on camera, but it just kind of gives it a little bit of a glow, which is nice. Not too much there. Okay guys, that's it for the bronzer. Now for the blush, and for, I also use a highlight in addition. So today for my blusher, I'm going to be using my NARS palette in Foreplay. And I'm going to be taking this color here, which is one of them. I don't remember. I'll find out because it doesn't say on the back. But I'm going to be taking this color here, and I'm just going to take my Sephora blush brush, and this is the harder bristled one. I kind of like this one the best, but I'm going to dab it in this. And I'm going to make that silly little duck face, and I'm going to literally take it from this part of my cheeks up. Okay, so as you guys can kind of tell, it's literally only on the apples of my cheeks. I concentrated it right here and worked my way up. The idea behind this is that contouring and highlighting, you really want to layer everything you're putting on your face. So as you guys can see, you can still see where I put all of my concealer. All those places I didn't cover with any of the stuff that I've done, but I just kind of highlighted it with the bronzer and then the blush. So to take it a step further, and you guys don't have to do this, but I quite like doing it just especially on fancy days, is I'm going to take this yellow color, and this is just a shimmery highlight. So on the skin it kind of looks very opaque and kind of creamy. So what I like to do with this is literally brush the side of my face right above where the blush is, and right where I put that little line of concealer going up this way, just to kind of highlight the side of my eyes. I just think it gives it such a pretty look. And then I'm going to use this same little bit, and with my finger, just going to add that there, and then onto the bridge of my nose. And then just very lightly on the outside apples of my cheeks. And then that's it. That's how I contour and highlight my entire face. And I know this seems kind of a lot of makeup to put on for every day. I don't normally do all of these steps every day. Sometimes I will skip the bronzer or the blush or contouring in general, just because, you know, some days you want a lazy day, but it really does give a lot more definition to the face and makes it much more lively. So that's how I contour and highlight, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a video later on this week.